In Greek mythology, Celtos means son of Hercules, but in Kia language it means this. Look at this, driving down into this valley. Look at that, look at that. Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, that's so pretty. Isn't this just a beacon of bucolic bliss? Oh, look, a cow. You could have stopped, it wouldn't have killed you.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Queensland, beautiful one day, perfect the next. So they say. I reckon it's Queensland one day, Queensland the next. Jacaranda, nice.
Well, here we are on the way to Noosa. How are you, Alan?
Very well, thank you, David. Thank you. I'm sated after a very satisfactory lunch.
It's rather nice, calming the Spirit House, which was both a lovely meal but a lovely ambience.
And also a lovely ambience is Kia's new Seltos. Did you know that it means son of Hercules?
I always thought that it sounded
That's a no
like,
then.
No. I always thought it sounded like a mint that you've tried to have after you've been eating garlic.
We've got some of those.
Indeed. Now, Alan, the advertising and the marketing speak for this use two strong words: sophisticated and assertive. Let's forget assertive for the moment. Yeah. Let's just go to sophisticated. So, Alan, would you consider it sophisticated?
I do. I think it is very sophisticated, especially on the outside. The front looks absolutely amazing. But David, I like a nice arse. Look, here's some shots of the arse. Oh, no, sorry. That's my holiday shots. Pretty, aren't they? No, I meant these.
So you would think that perhaps the rear of the car is a little bland compared to the front? Is that a disappointment to you?
Well, let me put it this way. If I had a choice of looking at the arse end of this or the arse end of a surf lifesaver in Speedos, I know what I'm going to go for.
I like the front as being bold with a lot of very strong elements of the light.
Well, there's two different lots of lights. So there's 4 models altogether, the S, Sport Plus and GT line. And the GT line, which is the one we're in at the moment, this particular one is all-wheel drive, and all of the external lighting is LED. So the daytime running lights, the headlights, tail lights, the interior lighting, that's LED as well.
There's a range of colours, which is strong. I think colours are coming back a bit now. We're not just getting the greys and the white and so on. There are some bolder colours.
Well, I think black's a really ridiculous colour for Australia. Anything black, I think, honestly, is just stupid. But there's 9 colours all up, and 2 of those are exclusive to the GT line. And also exclusive to the GT line is a black or white roof.
It means, though, that if you get the 2 tones, you can't have the sunroof.
Correct.
Which I would prefer to have the 2-tone than the sunroof.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of sunroofs.
No, I would save myself a couple of grand. So the other thing is that there are 2 engines and 2 transmissions and 2 drivetrains. So there's front wheel drive or all-wheel drive. There's a CVT or a DCT, so we'll explain to the viewers what the difference between those is.
A CVT is a continually variable transmission. It's like not having stepped gears.
Yep.
It means that it can vary the ratio infinitesimally in order to get you the best ratio.
You have been trying to work that into the conversation. I told you not to, and I told you you'd be over my knee if you said infinitesimal. I've been trying to work verisimilitude in as well, but so far I just haven't had the time to give the conversation some verisimilitude.
The DCT is a dual clutch transmission, which mainly is a stepped normal gearbox, except that it works like a glorious automatic with...
well, it's actually 2 manual gearboxes side by side. one's pretty safe. Now, David, we drove the two-wheel drive version with the 2-litre engine and CVT this morning. This car, which is the 1.6 turbo, has 130 kilowatts. Remind me how many newton meters it's got?
260.
260 newton meters. And that's made such a huge difference. I can't even begin to tell you that the two cars are chalk and cheese.
Really?
This one feels much more planted on the road than the other car did. This car also has some other extras. Not only is it all-wheel drive with, in my view, the better engine, but it's also got the better transmission.
And it has the bigger wheels, so
Bigger
it's
wheels.
probably got lower profile tyres.
And it's got lots of extras inside as well. So the heads-up display is one of the pop-up jobs, so it's not on the windscreen. It's actually on this little piece of perspex or glass or whatever's in front of me.
So it is very sophisticated in a way. Let's look at the interior, a very large screen,
So
an
there's
infotainment screen.
there's a 10.25 inch on all but the bottom model, and it can be split so you can have multiple bits of information on it. I think it looks awesome. You've still got the direct access buttons down below that, but I think it gives the pop-up tablets give you a great way of getting the information off the center stack and use that valuable real estate for other things like vents and air conditioning controls.
You like the interior and the paneling and the different sections of the interior?
Well, I particularly like the faceted speaker covers. Now, this car also has the 8-speaker Bose sound system, and the cover over the speaker on all of the cars is faceted, so it looks a little bit like the outside. I really like the way they've done that.
Well, it actually has almost like it's got a dent in it.
It's faceted, so that's got angles.
Yes.
And the bottom one has bigger angles.
Yeah.
It's like your bottom, David, has larger angles.
Some might have said more rounded, but that's
I was
another story.
being generous.
Which
I was, because you've been on that diet.
I have no desire to talk about.
Not successful, and I know it's just sidestepping the subject.
We get about, it's a combined figure of about 6.8 litres per 100 in the fuel consumption. Actually, the turbo is much higher. That's a combined figure of about 7.6.
Oh, well, my theory about that is that the four-wheel drive car or all-wheel drive car weighs a little bit more.
Yeah.
But also, I think you're tempted to sink the boot in because it's a much more pleasurable drive. It's an absolute peach. As Molly Meldrum used to say, I reckon it's going to go up with a bullet. It's my prediction.
115 kilograms extra in weight.
Yeah.
So
that's one of us. And a bit.
How does it drive? How do you find the steering? I thought the steering felt rather almost sporty sharp in a way.
Well, I was talking to Graham Gamble from Suspensions R Us, and Graham does all of Australia's Kia tuning. So he does the steering and the suspension. And this is column-mounted electric power steering, which normally isn't as good as the electric power steering you get on the rack. But this, I think, feels sensational. It's on the verge of having the feeling that you get from hydraulic steering.
I think that the steering is getting better, as is CVT gearboxes.
I think all CVT boxes, David, should be in the bin with them all. Why not just have this excellent DCT on all of the engines? Why do you have to saddle an already barely adequate engine with a CVT? I'd sooner shoot myself.
Well, the CVT in theory should be able to give you the exact right ratio at the right time. So, but it just, of course, feels like a slipping clutch. You have no sense of the speed of the engine to the speed of the car.
Because it's screaming its tits off by the time it gets to the other side of the intersection. It's just not for me, David. No, in the bin with it. No, I'm done with that. Now move on to the next subject. Quick sticks.
Safety. This is has a considerable amount of safety. Of course, we have the ABS and electronic stability control. It also has emergency braking, automatic emergency braking, which is good.
And rear cross traffic alert?
Rear cross for the top 2 models.
Right.
Yes, that would be it. Lane keep assist for all of them, but lane following assist just for the top of the range model.
Which I've got switched on at the moment, and I'm struggling to understand the difference between lane keep assist and lane follow assist.
I think we better get a formal definition of that.
Unless they mean that, like, I mean, we're not allowed to, and I'm certainly not going to do it on my Anfilum, but perhaps you can take your hands off the steering wheel. Maybe that's what it means.
Blind spots detection on the top 2 models, as is the automatic dimming of the rear vision mirror, but parking sensors at the back is standard, but only at the front on the top 2
I just
models.
don't get it. How much can it cost to stick a couple of sensors on a front bumper bar, for God's sake?
Sophistication, but not necessarily the cheapest on the market. $25,000 drive away for the base model, $42,000 for the top of the line.
It's got a lot of stuff in it though, Dave. Like this top one, the sound system is Bose on this top model, and it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. The sound is great. The very wide screen is just brilliant. I think the looks of the inside match the looks of the outside, but this top model is streets ahead for the actual drive. It's absolutely, and you'll see it when you have a drive. You haven't driven it yet. You'll see it when you have a drive.
It even has a bigger information display between the 2 dials. 2 dials are fairly traditional, round and clear number, which I like, but the numbers in between, the information is in big fonts.
And it's colour as well.
So overall, you're impressed so far?
I am extremely impressed. Now we've got on the graphic at the moment, I've just gotten rid of my digital speedo, and I've got instead what the all-wheel drive is doing. So at the moment, we are just being powered by the front wheels, and now I've kicked it in the guts. It was sending some of the power to the back wheels. So let's move on to the seats. The seats in the top model have 10-way adjustment for the driver and 8-way for the passenger.
Which I like.
I like too. But more importantly, they've got heating and cooling built into them. What do you think about that?
I love the cooling.
Do you?
Yeah.
It always makes me feel like I've wet myself.
No, I think heated makes it feel to me like something's gone wrong.
Oh, heating feels like a warm hug. If there was one little problem, and we've discovered this on the way up, we were talking about how much sound deadening there is in the car, and I thought that there was a little more sound in the cabin than I thought there should be. It's the only fault I can pick with it. The interior, I think, is absolutely beautiful. I like the soft feel of the fixtures and fittings. Everything feels like quality. I like the big wide vents. I particularly like the fast charging that you get in this top model, wireless charging. So if you've got a new iPhone, for example, you can put it in there and it'll charge fastly. I think that's... So, what's your verdict?
Oh, look, as a sophisticated SUV, I think it is hitting its mark. And I think this is not a car you feel like it's the one you can afford to buy. It's the one that you'd like to buy.
But David, 3 of the top 10 cars are pickup trucks.
Yeah, but they're also, if you look
how
at
does that make you feel good about yourself?
Well, the Ranger, though...
Unless you have little... Just saying.
The Ranger...
I'm not saying you do. I'm saying that if you wanted to buy a pickup truck. Do you want to buy a pickup truck?
No. But it makes it upmarket, and I think this is aiming upmarket.
Well, this does feel upmarket.
It has 7-year warranty, 7-year capped price servicing, and 7-year
roadside assist. And if anything goes wrong, and chances are it won't, but if anything does, a little man will come in a white jacket. You could go to places like we're going to now, to beautiful Noosa, throw all your stuff in the boot. The seats go down 60/40. On the subject of the seats, I don't think any of the covering is actually real leather.
No.
I think
it's made for vegans.
I think it's simulated leather. Or as we call it in the trade, genuine, fake, artificial, not from a cow leather.
Yeah.
What in God's name is that?
It's
Get a picture, Joyce. Get a picture.
It's an
Get a picture of the thing, Joyce. It looks like a bloody demented ice cream cone. God almighty, some people will spend money on anything, won't they? Whoever set this up has a touch of Virgo about them, and that's how Kia's set up Seltos. Graham Gamble's done an excellent job. Read what we think about it in the full comments, and don't forget, hit there to subscribe.